So let's start by talking about heart. As I said, the sun is the major ruler of the heart and the cardiovascular system. And what better ruler of the heart and the cardiovascular system in herbal form than Hawthorn? Crataegus monogyna is the main species used. Of course, we've got Crataegus douglasii and other Crataeguses, but the monogyna is the main Hawthorn species used. Now, if you look up old astrology books or alchemy books, oftentimes they'll say, oh, Crataegus is ruled by Mars. I always thought that was interesting because it's such a heart remedy. Like anyone that knows anything about herbs and has studied Hawthorn you say, what's the number one heart herb? Most everyone's going to say Hawthorn, right? This is like our heart trophorestorative par excellence, right? This is our mainstay, powerful, gentle, yet powerful herb for the heart and really the entire cardiovascular system. Now, one of the reasons why I think the old text might say Hawthorn ruled by the sun, it might be based on morphology. So they see a bright red berry and they see thorns and they think Mars. Okay, Mars is sharp, prickly, intense. It can cut you, it can stab you, it can draw blood. And Mars, of course, is the red planet. But when we really look, I don't think correlating a plant to a planet just based on morphological characteristics is sufficient. It doesn't build a good enough case for why that herb would be associated with that planet. Now, that being said, I do think Hawthorn is an interesting herb in that it is what I might think of as a Mars eliminator, meaning that the berries and the flowers, to an extent too, of Hawthorn are powerfully antioxidant, cooling to heat and inflammation and irritation in the vasculature, right? So vascular oxidation, weak capillary beds, inflammatory stress in the cardiovascular system. We could say that's like Mars attacking the sun, or Mars in maybe harsh aspect to Leo, causing heat, inflammation, damage to the vasculature. So to me, Hawthorn is a really primo remedy here for addressing Mars attacking the sun, or Mars harshly aspecting Leo and causing problems. But this herb is, tastes sour. Many of our sour tasting herbs, it's a berry, right? So many of our sour tasting berries tend to be cooling to heat and inflammation and irritation. This is like a food. This is one of those herbs that is between a medicinal property and a food. Meaning that you can't expect to take a dropper full of Hawthorn and that magically all of your heart problems just go away. This is an herb that you generally, especially with people with really bad cardiovascular issues or predisposition towards it, maybe they've got atherosclerosis or they got high cholesterol and they got heart problems, things like that. Usually one has to be taking Hawthorn daily, multiple times a day, consistently, inadequate dosages for 6 months to really for it to build up within the system and to really start taking effect. So it's like a food. It's a slow acting, long-term use herb, but it's building the strength of the heart. Right? It's antioxidant, it's inflammation modulating, it's what we would refer to as a cardiotonic, or what I like to think of as a cardiovascular trophorestorative, meaning that it's restoring the structure and function in a lot of ways, the proper structure and function of the heart and the vasculature. It helps bring more tone to the heart muscle, making the contractile power of the heart more efficient, more effective. It improves the elasticity of the vasculature so that it expands and contracts with the beating of the heart. But where I also see Hawthorn being very interesting in its solar association is what we might think of as the Chinese concept of the heart, or the TCM heart, which in a lot of ways really is the mind. So it's said in Chinese medicine that the heart stores the Shen. Well, the Shen is your spirit. And in this context, your spirit is oftentimes reflected in the state of your mind. This is why a lot of times people that are really maybe anxious or nervous, have hard time sleeping at night, we have what we might think of as more of a nervous, anxious kind of disposition. They have like a disturbed Shen, or maybe they even have really bad dreams at night, not sleeping well, waking up a lot. It's a disturbed Shen. It's something of the heart. And Hawthorn, interestingly enough, is very useful for people. I actually consider it a nervine. I think it's really useful for calming down people that might be anxious, nervous, kind of flighty, like their vital force kind of flutters up and out. The mind has a certain stress to it. I always say that the Hawthorn person, it's like the mind is overriding the heart. Like they have a hard time following their heart. And we hear that statement, follow your heart, follow your heart. Well, what does that mean? It means like quit overthinking everything. It means that that the heart is not just a pump, that the heart is actually in a lot of ways the seat of consciousness. It is the seat of the spirit. It is to follow the heart means to follow a deeper sense of what is right action, what is the kind of following a moral compass. What is morality? What is right? What is wrong? What is good? What is evil? What is a proper way to conduct oneself in this life? What does it mean to live a virtuous life? And where does all of that come from? Well, it doesn't come from the mind, or it doesn't come from science. It comes from something greater than the self, I would argue. I would argue that it comes from God. It comes from the Creator. It comes from something greater than the self. And that is, we connect to that through our heart. And to me, Hawthorn is really a useful way of going about that. And the astrological reflection of that would be the sun. Right? The sun, it's the center of all things, the center of our solar system, the center of the psyche, the spirit. And so, of course, spirit is another category here. We'll talk about a separate herb there for that. But I think because Hawthorn works on the heart, it touches the Shen to calming. This is why Hawthorn extract, actually a very strong, like solid extracts of Hawthorn, can be very useful for children with cognitive difficulty. You know, conventionally speaking, they might be diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. I don't really know if that, I don't really know if I believe that's actually a disease per se. I think that might be, I think there's other things going on there that I wouldn't call necessarily a disease, but Hawthorn can be really helpful in that way. So, that's Hawthorn. That would be the heart.